There's only one story dominating European markets today, and that's Italy. Italian assets getting hammered after Prime Minister Mario Monti says he will resign soon, and scandal-hit former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi says he will stand again in next year's election. I'm Jamie McGeever, and this is today's Market Pulse. So let's dive straight in, and I'm joined now in the studio by Michael Gallagher, Head of G7 Research at IDA Global. Michael, good to see you again. Italian bonds are getting crushed today. How much higher do you think yields will go?
I think we can see 10-year yields heading towards 5, potentially even 5.25%. The Italian bond markets had a great run. Yields have fallen from 6.5% in July. We've seen a lot of people move back into Italy, at least on a shorter-term basis. And I think this is a great reason for them to take profits, first of all.
Is that all it is, taking profit, or are you getting the sense that people are actually thinking about this as being a time to go short?
No, I think at the moment it's predominantly sort of profit-taking. I think you will see some people also jittery about the whole run-up to the elections, which are probably going to be in February, and what it actually means in terms of the medium-term strategy for Italy.
So what's the trade here? I mean, all the bonds are getting sold off today, but you know, if you take a step back, do you buy 2-year, sell 10-year? Do you buy Italy, sell Spain, for example? I mean, what's the trade here?
I don't think you want to try and nuance it sort of too much. The front end of the curve is definitely helped by the existence of the ECB OMT. Today, however, we've seen the whole curve lift in Italy, and I think, at least in the short term, the 10-year area is probably the most vulnerable, 2.5% and a little bit more, and that's probably the clearest short-term strategy.
How much of a concern is it that, well, I know you're not an equities analyst per se, but Italian banks are down 7% today, and we also heard today that these very same banks are holding record quantities of Italian government bonds?
I think the reaction in the banking sector is similar to the BTB reaction. The markets had a great run since the ECB announced the OMT operation. I think you're seeing largely profit-taking sort of occurring, and that can probably sort of continue for the rest of this week.
So these Italian auctions, we've got one auction on Thursday. Do you still expect the Italian banks, the domestic buyers, to show up in force again?
I think you always will, because there is a sufficient arm twisting to actually make sure that there's domestic interest, whether it's the banks or other financial institutions. There'll definitely have to be some yield concession, because I think foreigners will rightly sort of stop buying now and will hold off for a little while and probably sort of take some profits.
Finally, what does all this do to the likelihood or not of Italy seeking a formal aid programme early next year, or at any point next year?
I think Italy will sort of continue to try and avoid requesting aid. Their funding is not as great in 2013 as 2012, and really sort of the question about Italy requesting funds is something that the Italian political sort of consensus is against. And I think the spotlight still remains on Spain. We think pressure will rise in terms of Spain, and the story will come back onto Spain in the second quarter.
OK, Michael, thank you very much. That was Michael Gallagher at IDA Global. Well, I'll leave you with a look back at this day in financial history and a question, actually 2 questions. Who is this, known in her time as the Enchantress of Numbers, and why might she be a financial market heroine or villain? Born this day in 1815, mathematician Ada Lovelace invented the first algorithm. She foresaw the capability of computers to go beyond mere calculating or number crunching, and her ideas went on to form the basis of computer programming and eventually black box trading systems. Depending on your point of view, markets owe a huge debt of gratitude, or she owes us a beyond the grave apology. That's all from us for now, but join Reuters every day at this time to take the pulse of the market. I'm Jamie McGeever. This is Reuters.